Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. One of the best ways to stop a fire is to simply rob it of its fuel or just allow it to burn out and not add any extra fuel to it and just let it burn out naturally. Obviously, if a fire is going to burn, it has to have something to burn, whether it be wood or something else. It needs fuel to burn. And the same thing is true when it comes to the fires we come across in relationships. When people come up to rise against us, in opposition to us, maybe to speak against us or to accuse us or slander us in some way, one of the best things that we can do as a defense against that is to simply not give them any fuel to work with. This is what Paul tells Titus in Titus chapter 2, starting in verse 7, where he says, "In all things show yourself to be a model of good works, with purity and doctrine, dignified, sound in word which is irreproachable, so that the opponent will be put to shame, having nothing bad to say about us." In other words, if you are being a good model of good works, if you have purity and doctrine, in other words, your teachings are accurate and pure and not corrupted, if you are living a life that's dignified, or we could also say honorable, if you're sound in word, you're not just mouthing off or just making things up, but you think about what you're going to say, you're very thorough in what you're saying and very accurate in what you're saying. He says your opponent will be put to shame, having nothing bad to say about us. And that is true with us as well. One of the best things that we can do to guard against people coming up against us in opposition is just simply to live a good life, to not give them anything to slander us about, to just live a life that is pure and good and dignified. And in doing so, they won't have much to work with when they try to come up against us. We see this with Daniel. Back in Daniel chapter 6, there you have the situation where the other leaders of the land were trying to accuse Daniel of something. They were trying to find something to accuse him because they were jealous because he was beginning to elevate himself in the kingdom. And it says in verse 4 of Daniel 6, "Then the commissioners and satraps began seeking to find a ground, but they were not able to find any ground of accusation or evidence of corruption, inasmuch as he was faithful, and no negligence or corruption was to be found in him." So they were trying to find something against Daniel and concerning the kingdom, and they were just absolutely unable to find anything, whether it's negligence, that is not doing what he was supposed to do, or corruption and doing something he wasn't supposed to do. They couldn't find anything. And so they said in verse 5, "We will not find any ground of accusation against Daniel unless we find it against him with regard to the law of his God." And they actually had to make up a law that they knew would go against the law of his God to find anything wrong, to bring any accusation against him. And so Daniel made it very difficult for them to persecute him simply because he was living a good life. He was following the rules. He was obeying the law, and it made it very difficult for them to accuse him and to become or to rise up in opposition against him. And the same thing would be true of us. And so this ought to be encouragement for us to really be precise in our life, precise in what we say, precise in what we do, really making sure that we're walking the line, that we're doing things that are right and good and honorable. That way, we will, again, not give any fuel to the fire. And in doing so, hopefully the fire, if it ever does rise up, will quickly burn out. Because one, they don't have anything to say against us, but we could also say that when they do bring up accusations against us, those that they try to accuse us to will not accept their accusation and say, "No, that's not right. That's not how this individual is. We know better than that." And their accusations won't make it very far. So let's live that type of life. Let's live a life that is irreproachable, a life that really shows or reflects the life of Christ, a life of purity, a life of sound speech, all these things that the Apostle Paul talks about, so that we don't give people fuel for the fire, and that we can live a life that truly honors God and brings glory to Him. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.